Okay, y'all. Good morning, good morning. So it's Monday morning, it's wet. That was one of the reasons why I did that stump job yesterday, because I knew it was gonna rain and I wouldn't probably even be able to do it this week. In hindsight, you know, there's a lot of things I could have done different over there. Some of you guys were asking me, you know, what made that job, at $120, where I took such a hit. I just miscalculated. You know, there was a lot of things I took into consideration when I was, I mean, he's my neighbor, number one. That was the biggest part, the biggest factor, because it's only 2 doors down. It's not this house, not the next house, so 3 doors down, right? And my thinking was, okay, if I had to go somewhere, I would probably charge, you know, $160 or $170, right? If I had to go somewhere. In my area, you're not going to get much more than that. I know one guy was saying, $500 a stump. You're not going to get $500 a stump in my area. I mean, there ain't no way. I mean, dude, don't you think that if I could get that, I would? I mean, you're not getting that. Most of the time, typical stump, I'm talking about a typical stump, as big as my steering wheel, give or take, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller. And you only have one, you're gonna max out $200 at the most. I mean, there's not many people gonna pay more than $200 to grind a stump. That ain't massive. Like, if the stump's as big as my damn truck bed, then that's different, right? But we're talking about stump like that one. You're not even going to get $200 to grind that stump. Not. I mean, if you did, you'd be maxing out, and that's if you had to drive from, Noonan or Griffin or Fayetteville. You'd have $40 or $50 wrapped up in fuel. And that goes back to a lot of times what I'm talking about. You got to be rigged for everything to make top dollar at everything, or the situation's got to be worthy. When you're doing one stump, and I'm learning, you're right. So when you're just doing one stump, if that, like, say for instance, that stump down there was in Noonan, right? I wouldn't even go do it. Because you got to justify bringing the skid steer out. And I don't want to say, like a lot of guys say, I don't want to say that I won't crank my skid steer up for less than $1,000, because I will. But the travel time and all, instead of me trying to charge $200 or $250 for a stump like that one that happens to be 20 miles away, you're not going to get it, because they're going to find somebody closer, just like he did with me. The thing about having a skid steer stump grinder, unlike having a smaller stump grinder where you can put it on a lawn trailer or whatever, you have to bring the skid steer and all of its power. And that in itself runs the number up. I couldn't imagine me going to Noonan and doing a stump for $120. You can't do that. That's the bad thing about having a skid steer stump grinder. Now, if I was up in that area doing another job, a grading job or anything, where I was up in Noonan doing something else, and I knew that on the way home I could pull in somewhere and I could make a quick $120 on the way in, then okay, I may consider it, but probably not. The only reason why I did this one down here so cheap is because I didn't have to load the trailer. I didn't have to hook the truck to the trailer. I didn't have to have anything, but that bit me in the long run because I got down there and I didn't have everything. You know, it's only 3 doors down. I didn't have everything that I needed, you know, and not having my stupid truck is making it where because I don't have any space in this truck to put all my stuff that I would normally have with me. You know, I got a whole side of shop in here. I don't know if anybody's noticed it in the shop videos, where I got a bunch of stuff just stacked up in the middle of the floor, you know, to the side. And that's all the stuff that goes into my big truck. You know, toolbox, hammers, you know, chisels, all that stuff. And so, you know, I'm every time I leave the house, I'm less than, you know, but not taking a trailer or anything down there to that job right down the street here. That cost me because I had to keep going back and forth. I couldn't just go to the trailer, and you know, so that's how I ended up losing on that job. I mean, I didn't lose money because let me just say this. A skid steer is such a unique and money lucrative piece of machinery. At the end of the day, for my skid steer and what it cost me, after I put a big down payment, I put $45,000 down on the skid. So my payment is only $700 a month, $730, and that includes the big boy insurance. So you can do the math there on what skid steer costs me per month. What per day. And I want to say, I think it's about $25 or something like that. So we'll say $800 divided by 30, $26 a day. So my payment is $730. So like I was saying before the stupid camera kicked off, yeah. The payment on my skid steer is $732 a month. That's roughly $25 a day to have a skid like mine. Now, that doesn't include the attachments or any of that. That's just the machine. But I put $45K down. Now, if you're not putting I'm just trying to show you guys how much sense it makes to have a skid steer and how I look at it, and it might make you look at things a little bit different. Instead of looking at the machine as, oh, it's an $80,000 machine, it is, but you're gonna earn with it. So it's not like buying an $80,000 Harley or $80,000 jet ski or boat or truck even. You're gonna make your money back on it pretty fast. And when you look at it like that, that's one way that's one way that I look at it. Also, you got to believe in yourself. I mean, come on. But if your skid steer payment is $1,500 a month, that's $50 a day to have a skid steer like mine. Now, do you think that you can make $50 a day with that skid steer? You know, you can. And so I don't know why people are always so scared to buy one. You know, because the financing is, you know, I mean, pretty easy to get. You don't have to have an 800 credit score to get one. And you don't have to have 45 grand down either. I mean, you could put, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 down and get your payment to $1,300 or $1,400 a month. And then, you know, you're at $40, $40 to $50 a day to own the skid steer. Now, of course, there's a lot of other things that go along with that. The trailer, you know, the truck. You got to be kind of thinking about the skid steer game before you actually buy one. You know, if you're in the lawn maintenance business and that's all you do, then you don't really have to have the big trailers and stuff. You know, the weight, the heavier trailers. But see, for me, after about year 7 or 8, you know, I started thinking about you know, bigger trailers, and you know, and I bought the dump trailer, you know, 3 or 4 years after I was in business, and I've still got it. So and I only paid like $5 grand for it brand new. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that people are always afraid. Man, man, you know, my wife just won't let me. My wife's scared, or oh, I'm scared, or I ain't sure if I can keep it busy, or I don't know which one to buy. I don't, you know, all that. And all that was what I was going through, and all that is fear. It is, and it's a valid emotion for sure when you're spending that kind of money and there's a lot of unknowns. But you don't just wake up one day saying I'm gonna buy a skid steer. You do things in steps. Well, number one, you got to have the truck. So instead of buying an F-150, if you're doing a lot of maintenance and you're going into the and you're in the truck market, instead of buying an F-150, just buy an F-250. A couple of things about buying an F-250 or 2500 equivalent, Dodge or Chevy, whatever. The thing about buying, one thing that goes unnoticed really in my area anyway, is when you buy an F-250, you don't have to have emissions. And some states don't have emissions anyway, but in my state, emissions is a pretty big deal, and you can't get a tag without it. But if you got a 2500 or an F-250, you don't have to have emissions. So that in itself is a pretty big motivator for me to buy. I won't buy anything but an F-250. Why I want to buy an F-150 and the check engine light come on, and now I can't get a tag, and without spending money on it every freaking year, especially if you get an older one, or hell, even the newer ones. But like right now, as you see, when you look at the dash in this F-250, you see that, well, you got that tire inflator thing that doesn't work, that they always go out and it's expensive to fix. And then you got the check engine light on. The check engine light's been on this truck since I bought it. But if I was in an F-150, I wouldn't be able to get a tag for this truck. So that's a factor that a lot of people don't talk about in my area anyway. I don't know, you know, what the rules are everywhere else. But you got to have an F-250, and if you're going into the market of doing lawn maintenance and you have to buy a truck anyway, that's the time to buy an F-250, 2500, or a Dodge, or whatever you want to buy. Don't try to get a F-150 with a 6-cylinder and then tell yourself that you're gonna get in the skid steer game. You want to make sure that you give yourself more options than that, because a business like mine can go a lot of different ways. You know, and you have to go where the money is. You have to be able to, you know, maneuver around a little bit, and you have to have options. And F-150 is just, your options are very, very, very limited. You're not going to pull that dump trailer loaded with rock. You're not going to pull the skid steer around. You're not going to, have the, I don't know, the power, the pulling power. Now, though, the newer F-150s, they will pull a lot of weight, and I could probably get away with a newer F-150 pulling Chucky, but it's not going to be a long-term thing. It's just not. You're going to wear the truck out. It's going to look funny on the road too, and that's what gets you pulled over by the DOT. So even though you're borderline, yeah, I mean, you're not going to load an F-150 like you see me put a brush cutter on the bed of this truck, and you see me load this trailer up, and you see me pull all that weight. You're not going to do that with the F-150. You're not. If you do, it's going to be sketchy as all get out, more sketchy than it was this. And a lot of the F-150s don't have the transmission cooler and all that either. And if it's a 6-cylinder, you wasted your money, if you ask me. If you buy a 6-cylinder F-150, you wasted your money, to me. If you're in this game and this is what you're going to be doing, and you know, whether you're pulling lawn trailers around, you need a V8 minimum. So I don't know how I got on the subject of trucks, but you know, it goes back to what it costs to have a machine like mine. and how I can take a hit like I did yesterday, and I'm not, you know, I'm not, I mean, I'm gonna cry about it, of course, because that's bad business, right? But I'm not gonna beat myself up about it too much. What I will do is I'll learn, like I said yesterday. So to get in the skid steer game, you got to be thinking about it way beforehand. And guys that come in the comments and they watch my videos, they see the equipment and all, especially if they're newer subscribers and they just started watching, go back to some of the older videos and you'll see the struggle, the grind it took to get all this stuff. Because most of this equipment that I have now, I bought since I've been using the YouTube channel. Well, since I've been doing the YouTube channel, I should say. All the way back to the Bobcat and me buying the Bobcat. Back to buying that big Gator-made equipment trailer. I got videos on that. I got videos on when I went to go buy the man lift, and a lot of people were telling me I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Well, I did, and I do, and I have, and I've made money with it, and I still got it. You have to, I don't know. You have to realize and you have to know that this is what you're going to be doing for the foreseeable future. If this is not what you're going to do, then of course you're not going to want to invest like a guy like me. I'm investing for the long term. I'm not investing for a quick lick. I'm not. I need top quality equipment to make top quality money, and that's what, you know, what I strive to do. There are a lot of instances where you know, a skid is not for everybody, right? At least not initially. You know, I skipped the whole dingo phase and went straight to the big machine. I mean, you know, and I really don't even have a reason why. I just know that I wanted a machine that's going to minimize my labor. And if I got to stand up on a machine all day, I'm not going to want to do that. That's just me. And that's, you know, at 55 years old. When I was 30, 35, 40, yeah, I probably would have done that. But see, when I was that age, I just started the lawn maintenance business. I didn't have near the resources to even think about getting a skid steer like I got now, or a dingo, or any kind of stand-on skid steer, Chinese skid steer. I didn't have any money for none of that. And of course, the Chinese stuff wasn't like it is now. I don't know how good the Chinese stuff is, but I think Chad's fixing to get one, and we're going to see how good they are. Because I trust Chaz and his judgment. So some of these other guys that are doing, you know, the videos on the Chinese stuff, well, a lot of those people are given the equipment. There's one guy that does a lot of videos on it. He got a lot of informed videos, but I don't see him making money with them. I just see him doing demonstrations for YouTube. Nothing wrong with that, but you know, the practicality of making money with one is what I'm all about. I don't really, well, I don't buy equipment just to show YouTube. I mean, or even if companies wanted to give me equipment to show on my YouTube channel, I would, but I'm not going to be running the equipment for kicks and giggles. I'm going to be making money with that equipment as I'm doing the videos. So I don't know, you know, I don't know everything there is to know about equipment, but I know that the one guy that does them, he does great videos. I mean, they're great, but I haven't seen him have to go to a job and fall under a timeline, a money making, a profit margin, an expense margin, loading it and unloading it on a trailer, pulling it down the road, using the attachments in a real job workplace. See, it's easy for me to go, you know, I could, you know, get one of these Chinese ones and I could go over to the bamboo site and I could show y'all everything that it can do. But I ain't making money with it that way. And when you throw the the money making part in with it, that you got to make money, got to make money with it, then that throws a whole nother layer of pressure on. Now you want a machine that can, well, obviously can do the job, but that can hold up, that parts are easy, where, I'm not just playing around in my yard for YouTube videos, and I'm paying full retail for whatever the machine is or whatever. I'm not getting a break. So they're not sending them, like if one of them Chinese manufacturers saw my channel and they said, hey Ray, we want to send you one of these, man, for you to use in your business, and if you'll do videos on them and all that, and if you like it, you can buy it off of us. If you don't like it, you can send it back, but we'll get exposure anyway, even though my channel doesn't get big boy exposure. I have a hard time getting to, it took me a long time to get to 3,000 subscribers. My videos don't even hit 1,000 views a video. So, I don't know why, but I think it's because I'm country. But I'm not, I'm just not a true believer yet in the Chinese stuff, the Chinese equipment, as far as the skids go. Now, some of their attachments and all might be pretty good. I don't know. I heard that some of the, like the mulching head and all is pretty good. I don't know. One thing that I'd be super wary about too, well, number one, I'm gonna, to buy a Chinese one, I'm gonna have to go somewhere to buy it. I don't know where I would buy one around here. I'm sure if I Googled it, I could find a dealer somewhere within 50 miles. And what do you got to do to get it? How hard are parts to get for it? Because these things are going to break down on you. They're going to break down on you. And, if, it ain't worth nothing if it breaks down on me. And, I can't get parts. Even if I only paid $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for it. I say only, that's still a lot of money, man. But the longevity of these things is what remains to be seen. And I think Chad said Chad ordered one. I'm pretty sure he did. I haven't been hardcore watching a lot of videos this weekend because I got other stuff going on. I got a lot of things preparing for the season and all. But I think he's going to buy one. I think he's ordered one. Now I know that the mulching heads and all for the Chinese ones. If it's I don't know what the horsepower is or whatever, but if it's a 25 horsepower machine with a hydraulic flow of, I don't know. I had no idea what the hydraulic flow is on those things, but I bet it ain't 20. It's gonna be low. For it to push a forestry mulcher grinder like one needs to be pushed, I don't know that it can do that, at that horsepower and hydraulic flow. You need big hydraulic flow to push a real forestry mulcher. And the guy that does a lot of the videos on the Chinese stuff, he put the forestry mulcher, on one of them, and I was not impressed with what it could do. You put more power behind that forestry mulcher, and it'll do a lot more. Because if y'all know, if one of those little machines would run a forestry mulcher, then my machine will run one really good. But I know that my machine it's not really designed for hardcore forestry mulching. It's not enough horsepower or enough flow. So yeah. But anyway, today I got a few things I need to do. I'm hoping I'm gonna get my truck back. I'm going over here to my mechanic. He's gonna write me up a quote to fix my truck, so I'll have all the paperwork I need for the truck. So if they call me today, I can go get it, and I got all the paperwork for Safe Light.